Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk about the global nursing shortage and how TWU is coming to the rescue. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, one thing is clear, the frontline workers, the healthcare workers have become heroes, healthcare heroes, and we're talking about those nurses that are working long hours to take care of patients during this stressful time. To talk about that today, Rosalie Mainous, she is the professor and nursing dean for the College of Nursing at TWU. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity to tell you about my school.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with the history. So the nursing program started what year at TWU?
I believe it was about 1954. Our university has actually been around since 1901, and our college started to develop in the 50s as a partnership with Parkland Hospital in Dallas, and eventually moved lock, stock, and barrel into the academic setting. But we have a very close history with Parkland, and we have alums from that setting and continue our tradition with very, very close partnerships today.
Well, I've got to compliment you because it couldn't have been easy to come into Texas and take over this school really just before the pandemic, right? You've been here for 3 years?
Almost 3 years. Mm-hmm.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the pandemic hits, gosh, are we online? Are we on campus? What was that like for you?
Well, I was here about, I think, 6 or 7 months before I pretty much had to retreat into my house and set up a shop there. And I was just in the process of meeting my clinical partners and the deans of the other nursing schools, and it has made it difficult, but not impossible. And so my fellow deans and I have shared similar stories, and we have managed to meet in spite of the pandemic, and able to move the vision forward in terms of nursing care and the health of patients and our populations in Denton, Dallas, and Houston.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I did not realize you had 3 campuses.
Yes.
How many students total?
Approximately 3,000 in the College of Nursing, and I haven't looked at the latest number for the university, so I hesitate to say that, but we just recently became a system, and so we are the only predominantly female system in the country, and we are the largest female-oriented university in the country. So we are dedicated to women, and our purpose is to educate a woman and empower the world.
And you're doing amazing things in terms of, you were telling me just before the broadcast that the success rate of your students is off the charts.
Oh, I really like to brag about them because it has been very stressful in this last year with, difficulty finding placements for our students. They were bumped out of the hospitals, and we set up virtual reality and augmented reality and clinical simulations, and we did as many of those things as we could. And even with all of that, we just recently got our pass rate back for first-time test takers on the NCLEX, which is the National Nursing Board, and it was 94%.
Amazing.
And so I'm just thrilled, and I think that speaks to the strength of our faculty and the top-tier students that we have that did everything together with their faculty to make sure we were successful.
Let's talk about the demand, because I have to believe it's greater than it's ever been. And I've been covering news stories for years, and there's always been a nursing shortage, but now it's really acute, isn't it?
It is exceptionally acute because of the pandemic, and we had a relatively older workforce, and so the pandemic has pushed many of the people at retirement age, near retirement age, into retirement, and that has put the pressure on the colleges to increase the pool coming in, the workforce coming in, and we can't replace them quite as fast as we need to. I spoke to a hospital in Houston the other day that said they need 600 new nurses right now.
No kidding.
Right now, 600, and that's just one hospital in that whole environment.
What kind of salary can they command these days?
I would probably, it's certainly competitive. I don't know exactly, and I think it depends on if you're in a private institution, public institution. I know I started out at $4.75 an hour. It's well past that. Very competitive.
But these days, like if a nurse is working overtime, he or she can make
lots of money, and we've had reports of nurses that are working in COVID units that are making $150 an hour. So I think their starting pay could be anywhere from about 60 to 80, I'm guessing, and then depending on your experience, your degrees, your all of those things, the package can rack up. You get tuition reimbursement, and then you get overtime pay.
Wow.
So
you have a robust social media presence. I was on your YouTube channel. I found a wonderful video from ABC's John Quinones. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Hi, everyone. It's John Quinones from ABC's What Would You Do? It's National Nurses Week. So what would I do? I would take a moment to recognize all the nurses and healthcare professionals at Texas Women's University and everywhere else, including you soon-to-be graduates who have been working and will continue to work tirelessly throughout this pandemic to save lives and make our world safer and healthier. Our communities are better because of you. So thank you very much. Gracias. Go Pioneers. Adelante.
Let's talk about the competition for the next generation of nurses. It's got to be fierce.
It is fierce. People have recognized that there's a shortage, and there are people coming into the market that haven't been there before. I'm all about innovation and trying new things and new programs. At the same time, I would probably say that TWU is tried and true. We're a leader in nursing education, and we often hear in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that we have the preferred graduate at the baccalaureate level. So that makes me feel good. We continue to be visionaries and try to look to the future. You can't rest on your laurels or, say we did so well last year.
Right.
It's always looking ahead and how we're going to meet the ever-changing need.
Absolutely. We've got some pictures of the students and faculty. What makes your faculty exceptional in your mind?
Oh, my faculty are just wonderful. They're very engaged with the students. They know their students, they know their life stories, they know their histories. They are, many of them, national leaders. Right now, I have one faculty member who just assumed president of the American, or the Association of Women's Health, Obstetric and Neonatal Nurses. I had another one who just finished as president of the Southern Nursing Research Society. So that many of them serve in national roles that make a huge impact in terms of policy, education, all of those kinds of things. And so that's what makes them really stand out, I think. Also, they're very service-oriented. And so when the pandemic first came about, I had one faculty member who went out and raised almost $250,000 to support buying PPE for local hospitals that couldn't get it.
Wow.
Because of the supply chain issues. They have done fundraisers. They've done things to support the students. And the students have been very involved as well. They've participated in vaccine clinics. Some of them at the graduate level flew to New York and actually helped provide care up there when it was so acute.
So let's talk about all the worldwide attention on nursing. Has that helped in terms of getting the word out that it's a great profession and they're highly dedicated and highly compensated?
Well, I think so. I think that nurses are probably more valued now than they've ever been. We're at a critical juncture, actually, I believe, and it's time to stand up, show what we can do, be more involved in the healthcare arena in terms of decision making and policy making, and we all need nurses at a variety of points in our lives. And as we were talking about just a little while ago, often the first person you see is a nurse and the last person you see is a nurse. So when you check in and check out. So they have the physicians and the nurses and the respiratory therapists, and I want to give some credit to all those other professions that have supported the pandemic, have gone beyond the call of duty. And if we didn't have those people working 50, 60, 70 hours a week and giving up time with their families, I don't know where we would be.
Yes. Well, thank you for all you do. We've only got about a minute left. Any final thoughts? What would you like to leave the audience with?
Nursing is a profession like no other. It offers many opportunities, and it offers personal fulfillment, a flexible job, a lot of career options, and it's been good to me. I've been in it for 43 years. I would highly recommend it.
And thank you for your leadership during really a crisis.
It really has been. I often said if I could go to the bookstore and buy a book on how to run a nursing school in a pandemic, I would have done it. But
maybe you should write one.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to write that book.
There you go. We're going to end with your website, which is twu.edu/nursing. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.